Joining us now is Bret Kavanaugh's attorney, Beth Wilkinson. Beth, thanks so much for being with us. Hoping you can help clarify some statements that Judge Kavanaugh has made publicly within the last few days. Number one,
Sure.
He says that he may have met Christine Blasey. He's not sure?
I don't think they ran in the same social circle, so they may have met on occasion, but he's very sure that the allegations that she made did not occur. And as you know, everyone else who she named that was at that party either doesn't remember the party or doesn't even know and never met Judge Kavanaugh.
He says, or you say, they may have met on occasion. Did they or did not they meet?
I really don't know. I know they had overlapping social circles, so they may have met. But the real issue here, as we keep saying, is the allegations about this very specific incident at a party that no one else was there that she named, acknowledges occurred or remembers anything like that.
Understood. So they may have met. She also, he said, Judge Kavanaugh said on Fox News, he doesn't remember attending any parties with Christine Blasey. Is it possible he attended parties with Christine Blasey and does not remember?
It could always be possible because, as you know, this was 36 years ago. One of the biggest problems with, trying to disprove this, as I think people are trying to put the burden on him, is that it's very hard to disprove or even remember exactly what you did 36 years ago. That's one of the reasons why he provided his calendars in response to the Senate Judiciary Committee's request for all the documents, so they could at least see what he was doing that summer. But without knowing where the incident happened, the date when it happened, the time period when it happened, it's very hard to disprove that and say, I was never at a party. Maybe there was a large party where she was there and he was there at the same time.
Okay, so it's possible they were at parties and at this point he doesn't remember 36 years later.
That's always possible. I think that is the reality, again, of talking about something that happened such a long time ago.
So Liz Swisher in the Washington Post, who says she was a college friend of Judge Kavanaugh, says he was a sloppy drunk, slurring his words, stumbling. Does he dispute that?
Well, lots of people dispute that, including him. I mean, he's admitted, though, that he's drank. He admits that they drank beers. They were, back then you could drink at 18, so when you were in high school. He admits that when he looks back, there's some things that he did that he cringes over. I don't think there's any dispute that he drank when he was in high school and that he was in college, but that is not the issue here.
Well, it is in the sense that he said, again, in this interview, that he was focused on sports, academics, in service projects, and implied in some people's minds that he was some kind of choir boy. That's the phrase in the Washington Post. And there are people coming forward who say they don't believe that's the case. You say he did things that made him cringe or cause regret. What did he do?
Well, I think, again, you're misstating exactly what was said. You're taking parts of what he said. He said that he did play sports. He did say that he worked that summer. He was a good student, and he did go to parties, and he did drink beer. He didn't deny any of that.
Did he drink in excess? Did he drink to the point of being drunk?
He said on occasion he drank more beers than he should.
And he says he did things that cause him regret and to cringe now. What would that include?
In that context, I think he was talking about the yearbook page, which people have paid so much attention to. And I think there's lots of things when folks are 17 years old and 18 years old that they put on the yearbook page that when we all look back, we wish we hadn't said. And so I think that's just acknowledging that he's a real person. And I think anybody, if this is going to be the standard of how we judge someone going into public service, I don't know why anyone in their right mind would want to go through something like this, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. I mean, if we're going to start saying what you put in your yearbook page is what decides whether you have good character or bad character, I hope my children know that if they make some mistakes along the way, that they can live a good life and still contribute to public service.
In some cases, though, it's a standard that he has set for himself. Because, again, in this Fox News interview, he said he has always treated women with dignity. You brought up the yearbook page. You brought up the yearbook page, Renata Schroeder. And he claimed to be some part of Renata alumnus group. And there are those, she's a woman, who apparently knew a number of boys who went to Georgetown Prep. A number of them included her name, apparently in relation to some kind of alleged conquests that they all had with her. She has come out and said that it's horrible and hurtful. I pray that Judge Kavanaugh's daughters never are treated this way. Is that treating people with dignity? Again, Judge Kavanaugh says he's always treated people with dignity.
Again, you're leaving out most of the facts. She says that they never had any interaction. He remembers going on one date with her and said that he gave her a kiss goodnight. She says she doesn't even recall that happening. No one says, including her, that there was any sexual conduct between her or any of these other boys. And I think, again, to suggest that statement in the yearbook, as he said, he has a lot of respect for her and he regrets if any way that statement hurt her feelings, but there's nobody, including her, that says there was any inappropriate conduct or any disrespect.
This gets to his assertions over the last few days, where he says he has always treated women with dignity. I don't think that Renata Dolphin, as her name is now, thinks that's being treated with dignity when she says she calls the statements horrible and hurtful. Again, this just gets to the picture that Judge Kavanaugh is painting for himself now. So,
well, I think you're trying to malign his character.
I'm just trying
that
to gauge,
occurred when he was.
Is that treating people? He says always treating people with dignity. Is that yearbook page treating Renata Schroeder with dignity?
I think what you've heard from lots of people, not just him, women, 65 women, women who knew him when he was young, people who knew him in high school and college and all the way through, say he did treat women with dignity and respect, that he has been an advocate for women. Is he a perfect guy? No. And again, I don't think anyone is perfect. But he has a long line of people who've known him in all different arenas of his life who say he treated women with dignity and respect.
And again, it was a standard that he set in that interview, saying he always did. I was just trying to establish, and I'm not going to push it because I think we got as far as we can on that point. I'm trying to establish whether or not that was treating women with dignity. To the drinking, again, and this is something that was discussed in the Fox News interview, and to an extent, he has said he had a few beers, he did things that made him cringe and cause regret. In that interview, he says he has never blacked out. My question to you is it his claim that he remembers everything from after every night of heavy drinking?
I don't think that's what he said, and I don't think he said there was every night of heavy drinking. I think he said he did not black out. He did not say that he never drank too many beers. In fact, he said that he did. And again, it depends on, we're talking about 36 years ago. The question was, did he black out? Did he black out drink at that time? And he said no. Did
he remember everything from when he was drinking then?
I don't even know what you mean by does he remember everything that he was drinking. The question isn't about everything he ever did. Again, you're talking about every day of his life when he was in high school. We're talking about a very serious allegation here. You're talking about an allegation of sexual assault.
Yes.
And that's a very important thing that can ruin someone's reputation over a lifetime. And we're not in a courtroom. We're outside in public opinion where you're putting forth all these general allegations instead of talking about the very specific incident where we don't know where it occurred, we don't know when it occurred, we know the people who are supposedly there, and they all deny that they have any recollection of that or if that ever happened. Even people who are not friends of Judge Kavanaugh.
What I'm trying to do is test some of the statements that he said over the last few days. Again, because we haven't had a chance to question him. He will be questioned tomorrow in front of the Senate. There's a 1997 memoir by Mark Judge who writes of someone named Bart O'Kavanaugh, that Bart O'Kavanaugh was passed out drunk and threw up in a car. Is that the judge?
I have no idea what Mark Judge was doing. My heart goes out to him because he was very honest in writing about addiction problems that he had, and he's been clean and sober for many years, and I don't know anything about him other than he issued a statement. He wrote that book and he issued a statement saying he was accused of being in that room with Judge Kavanaugh. He said that never happened and that was not like anything he knows about Bret Kavanaugh, and it's not consistent with what he knows about his character and integrity.
Does the judge know whether or not he is the Bart O'Kavanaugh in Judge's memoir?
I don't think he has any idea who Mr. Judge is referring to either.
Okay. USA Today came out and says that they have statements, 4 sworn statements from people who say